Hello, my name's Nick Rycroft. I'm a type 1 diabetic for the last 42 years and I'm the co-founder of the Derby T1 Diabetic Facebook group. I co-founded it with Sean Carpenter some 4 years ago, and we've now got around about just under 500 people on the group. We decided, Sean and I, when we started it up, that there was a lack of local engagement in terms of peer group support for people with diabetes. So we worked with the local hospital to bring together people with experiences, to share those experiences and potentially to meet socially.
My name's Satina Desange. I've had type 1 diabetes for nearly 19 years. I love the Facebook group. I think it's great. I suffer quite badly with social anxiety, so I struggle to talk to people in person. So when I joined the group, it was amazing to be able to talk to people online who go through similar things to me, to know that people relate to some of the things that I go through. Also, it's helped me a lot. I struggle with sick day rules quite a lot, and a lot of the times in the past I've ended up in hospital because I didn't know how to deal with it, whereas recently if I just put on the group that I'm struggling, people will help me, give me suggestions on what to do, and there's a real great sense of community as well, because people will check up on you if you've not been well, and it's really friendly and really welcoming, and it makes you feel like you're not alone.
So my name's Brett O'Brien, and I've been a type 1 diabetic from Derby for about 18 months. And the type 1 Derby Facebook group I find really helpful for when you get into like sticky situations and you need a bit of help. I'll just tell you a little bit of story about me. So I was going to the Derby County Football Playoff Final, so we had everything set up ready on the minibus, and then when I come to eat, when we were stopping at Milton Keynes, I checked my insulin pen and only had 3 units, which wasn't going to be enough for my planned carb intake for the day. So, panic-stricken, never happened to me before. I'd only been diabetic a year by then, and I rang 111, and they weren't much help until I got to London. So I thought, oh, I can't be the only person from Derby who's a type 1 diabetic who's going to the Derby County match. So I just did a little post in there, and literally within minutes there was 3 or 4 people pop up. And the first person was Adrian, and he was actually working at the game. So I just a few little messages to him, and then I met him outside, and he had a pen for me already. So saved the day. Not all heroes wear capes, and so that just shows just an example of how helpful it can be, where you all help each other out and you are like a close community together. And it's also good because it can actually be quite, when you first diagnose it, it can be quite lonely. So it's nice to know that there's other people there as well who can support you.
My name's Sally Hewitt. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm also a student nurse. I've been diabetic for 27 years. For a lot of those years, I did feel quite alone. There wasn't even Facebook then, I don't think. So I've found, since I've been a member of the group, it does tend to make you feel like you're not alone, and there are other people out there, especially when they post their Libra lines and you realise they're probably as bad as yours, and that makes everything seem a lot better. So in terms of support, I find it's very good in that way. You don't feel like you're doing such a bad job at what you're doing, and generally just makes you feel like you've got someone there if you ever needed that support and you were feeling in a bad space, that understands you and gets what you're going through. Because although we have a fantastic team at Derby, and I know some of the staff are type 1 diabetic, some aren't, and I think you find comfort sometimes just speaking to someone that does live with it, and that helps an awful lot.
Hello, my name's Derek Freeman. I've been type 1 diabetic for almost 19 years now. For many years after being diagnosed, I felt quite alone with diabetes, really. Knew very few people with it. Socially, I got to know a few people with diabetes following that. But the development of the group has really opened many avenues for us, really. Got to know a lot more people socially, and they've been a great help with the management of my diabetes, and more recently moving on with the new technology that's become available.
Hello, my name's Amy. I'm one of the lead diabetes specialist nurses at Royal Derby Hospital. I think the main thing for me in terms of the type 1 diabetes Facebook group is I just think it's helped clinically. In our area, we're able to then tell patients when they're feeling a little bit isolated or they're not able to always access us for questions. It's a really good tool for them to use. It's great for them to socialise, less feelings of isolation and anxiety. It can really help the new type 1s as well. Because sometimes when they're first diagnosed, they can feel quite isolated. And it's great that we can work in a clinical way and in the wider community, and it sort of brings that all together, which I think is brilliant for in terms of Derby and how we manage diabetes, that we're all sort of singing from the same sort of hymn sheets, really.
I guess in summary, my view is that even if you see a healthcare professional maybe once or twice a year, it represents such a small amount of the time that you actually have to day-to-day manage diabetes, and we all know how much time that can take up. And so in setting the group up, and the way we did it was, you know, there are no stupid questions. Ask away, ask whatever you want. And there's usually somebody who's got the experience or the knowledge to help people and support them. And we now find in clinic that when you go into clinic, people talk and they talk together. In the past, I remember turning up and sitting there going, not talking to you, don't know who you are, and feeling very, very isolated. I think that's changed. And I think that's down to the way in which this group has pulled together in terms of the people on it.